Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so hello and welcome to this webinar, and thank you for joining. I'm Cal Macy. I'm an holistic leadership coach working with leaders to help rethink leadership. And I have a background in senior leadership positions in large corporates. I was a psychotherapist. I am a master executive coach and master team coach and a mindfulness teacher, a Reiki healer, and an author of the Mindful Approach to Working Life. I've got over 25 years experience of working with senior leaders globally, and this together with my personal and professional journey gives me a unique and powerful approach to coaching and leadership development, where I blend Eastern wisdom with Western psychology. And my purpose, or my dharma as it's termed in Eastern wisdom, is to help leaders surf the chaos of the world that we work in today with approaches that enable them to shine their light. And so this is an introduction to a 3-part series of Rethink Leadership. And in this series of 10-minute talks, we'll be sharing with you how to blend Eastern wisdom and Western psychology and how it can help you to rethink leadership. We're looking at what is leadership energy, because that's really an important part of how effective we can be as a leader, knowing where our energy is. And a tool that is the leadership energy reset, which is a practical 60-second tool that will help align yourselves when you feel a little bit off balance. So a few years ago, I worked with a leader who had all of the right credentials. She was sharp, strategic, hardworking, but something was off. She felt exhausted. Her team was disengaged, and she felt like she was constantly pushing uphill. And she said to me, "Carol, I feel like I'm running, but I don't know where I'm going." Maybe you felt like that no matter how much effort you put in, something just isn't clicking. So it got me thinking, what if leadership isn't just about how hard we push, but how well we align our energy? And to know how to align our energy, we need to know where it is and how to align our energy. And so leadership isn't just about a mindset, it's about energy coherence. At our core, we're a vibrational field of energy and a dynamic mix of elements like carbon and oxygen, hydrogen and nitrogen. They're the very building blocks of life. But beyond the physical, our subtle energy that body, our chakras, our meridians and our auric field influences our health and our emotions and our leadership presence. And leadership isn't just about intellect or emotional intelligence. It's also about energetic alignment, the coherence between body, mind, and purpose. So today, I want to share with you some ways in which you can rethink leadership to help you get a better understanding of how Eastern wisdom and Western psychology blended together can unlock some insights for you. And in Eastern wisdom, it's called awakening. So 3 things that I want you to take away from this short session is an awareness of your leadership energy, enabling you to get a shift in perspective and to start to take a step towards you having greater presence if that's what you're looking for. So on this slide, you can see that there's a number of different things that people have told me about that they're experiencing in the way that they're being in the workplace or in their life, really. So what's your biggest challenge? Is it trying to find balance, avoiding burnout, feeling a sense of belonging? Is it about courage and willpower? Or is it about being heard? Sometimes our voice isn't heard, and that means we can't influence, and that affects our authenticity, really, and the impact of our relationships, or the quality of our relationships. Or is it about the quality of purpose and the clarity of your purpose? Being able to feel inspired and to inspire others. Is your confidence being impacted? Are you unclear about what the future is about? And is your decision making perhaps a little bit cloudy at the moment? I'm going to come back to this in a moment. So rethinking leadership isn't just a program, it's a journey of self-discovery. It helps you to tap into your intrinsic strengths and to lead with authenticity, compassion and clarity. So this is how blending Eastern wisdom and Western psychology can help you rethink leadership. And I want you just to think about how are you tuning into your energy as a leader? Do you know what that means? So in today's world, things are really moving fast, and having an holistic approach can help you to navigate both the personal and professional landscapes with confidence and insight without losing that connection with who you are being. And my own path has woven together Eastern practices and Western psychology. I began as a hypnotherapist and psychotherapist, and later I integrated coaching and psychosynthesis techniques and mindfulness approaches because I know that it's about the whole person. As a Reiki healer, I became aware of how daily life impacts on my energy, and by understanding and balancing the flow of the energy, I was able to gain greater choice in how I lead and how I respond. If you don't know what Reiki is, then it's a healing technique that's based on the principle that we can channel energy by means of touch, by activating the natural healing processes of the patient's body, and that can restore physical and emotional well-being. It can be done either in person or in distance healing, and it's very much a hands-off technique. The Japanese word Reiki literally translates as the universal life force energy. It's a system that was developed in the early 20th century, and it's been used extensively throughout the world. And one of the things that it recognizes is that energy flows through us. It flows through all living beings, and that energy at its core is in leadership is an energetic exchange. When we align the mind, the body, and the soul, we create the clarity and the presence that's needed to inspire and lead effectively. So how does this fit in with rethinking leadership? So rethinking leadership was inspired by a spiritual insight that I had in my 20s, actually, where a spiritualist told me that red shoes as a child were very important to me and that I needed to remember how they made me feel. But I couldn't ever remember owning a pair of red shoes. I guess a lot of girls do when they're young, but I couldn't remember it. And it wasn't until decades later that during a meditation, I received a download about the Wizard of Oz. And I saw references to the Wizard of Oz everywhere after that, and realized that the prophecy of red shoes symbolized to me the journey to self-discovery. So I've designed all of the Rethink Leadership programs to help you realize that, like Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz, you already possess the resources needed to lead and succeed. And this realization is pivotal as we work through the complexities of modern leadership together. So if you look at the Wizard of Oz, you've got Dorothy, who is the seeker archetype. She's determined, she's authentic, and she's discovering that her power lies within her, that she wore the red shoes through most of the book of the Wizard of Oz that were given to her by the witch. And those shoes were her way to get home. So she had the resources that she needed. The wizard represents the mask that we wear. Behind the smoke and mirrors, many leaders struggle with the imposter syndrome. And as the wizard eventually drops his facade, you're guided to embrace authenticity, finding strength in vulnerability. And Glinda, the wise guide, doesn't give Dorothy the answers, but guides her to discover her own truths. And that's what the Rethink Leadership programs do. They follow a similar approach. They help you to unlock your potential through self-discovery rather than prescriptive advice. I mean, it is coaching. It's coaching blending Eastern wisdom and Western psychology. So some reflective questions for you to think about, like which character in the Wizard of Oz most mirrors your current leadership challenges? What mask might you be wearing in your leadership role? And how could embracing your authentic leadership strengths transform your leadership impact? So I'm talking about archetypes here. And when we explore the archetypes, from the Tin Man's compassion to the lion's courage or the scarecrow's wisdom, we learn how different energies are needed in different situations. Like Dorothy and her companions, your leadership journey isn't about becoming someone else. It's about discovering and embracing who you truly are. So most leaders I work with, just going back to what I said about in terms of your challenges, most leaders I work with have an imbalance in their root chakra. And so if you think of the root chakra as being like an ancient tree, like an ancient tree as humans, our strength doesn't come from our height. The strength of the tree doesn't come from its height, it comes from its roots. And if a tree's roots are weak, even the slightest or the lightest storm can knock it down. And leadership works in the same way. If we're not grounded, if our foundation is shaky, we react instead of responding, and we burn out and we lose trust in ourselves. So the leader I mentioned earlier, she was making decisions from a place of exhaustion, and she had no time to pause or to breathe, and her roots, they were weak. So you can find out how your roots are feeling, how balanced they are. So let me show you how to do that. Your root chakra is situated at the top of your pubic bone, in between your hip bones. And if you just rub your hands together really fast and get some energy going in your hands, and close your eyes, and then move your hands slightly apart. And notice if you can feel a vibration or a tingling, or maybe it's a pushing, like pushing two magnets together. Okay, move your hands further apart and see whether that energy becomes stronger. At what point do you start to lose it? What point does it magnify? How far are your hands apart? And then just take both your hands and put them about an inch or so just above where your root chakra would be, this pubic bone area. See if you can feel that energy. Maybe it's a strong energy, maybe it's weak. What does it tell you about your root chakra? Some people feel that's pressure, a warmth, a coldness. It's different for everybody. Just notice. So many of us don't know how to balance our energy systems. But that's one way in which you can balance it, by feeling into your chakras in this way and channeling your own energy to feel into those chakras. So where is your leadership energy misaligned? Is it in your root chakra and in the seed, as I call it, the grounding area, where you feel uncertain or drained? Or maybe it's in your flame is dimmed, your ability to connect with others, and that's through your heart and your throat chakra. Or maybe you feel disconnected or you struggle to inspire others. Or maybe it's in your light, where your vision is blocked, you lack clarity or confidence in your next steps. So we can feel into these and we can rebalance them, and I'll be able to show you how to do that on the program.